Good morning. If you will grab your coffee and donuts and take a seat, we are about to get started. Once again, good morning. Grab your coffee and donuts and please come and take a seat. There are always seats available in the front. My name is Courtney, and I'm one of your community organizers along with Brian, Milton, Britton, and Toby. We would like to welcome you to our 3rd anniversary party this morning. I would first like to welcome Taylor Brown and Catherine Deck from Kaufman to talk a little bit more about what we have become as 1 Million Cups.
Thanks, Courtney. How's everybody doing today? Good? That's what I like to hear. So as you know, like she just said, we are celebrating 3 years. We are celebrating 3 years as a national program, and we're also celebrating our 3-year anniversary in Kansas City. So just out of curiosity, how many of you were at the first 1 Million Cups in Kansas City? Or here from the beginning? That's awesome. So as you know, you kind of early adopters, the program has really changed over the past 3 years. It's changed from a national standpoint. It's changed from a Kansas City standpoint. From a national standpoint, when we first launched in April of 2012, a couple of the gentlemen on the entrepreneurship team, Nate Olson and Cameron Cushman. Is Nate here today? There he is. They were tasked with getting to know the Kansas City entrepreneurs a little bit better. And one of the things that they found that was missing was that there really wasn't a platform for entrepreneurs to come together and just talk about their startups and be in a really vulnerable space and environment to get feedback and advice for free. I say for free because we don't charge at any of our 1 Million Cups across the country. And then Des Moines, Iowa reached out to us, and they'd heard about 1 Million Cups, and they were like, can we have this 1 Million Cups thing? And quite honestly, we really hadn't even thought about scaling the program or putting a model behind it. But we did because we thought there was a lot of power. And one of the reasons that the power took off is because Nate and Cameron realized that the program needed to be run by entrepreneurs. And so that's kind of the secret sauce behind the program and what makes it jive and work every week. So after we launched in Des Moines, we ended 2012 in 2 cities. And then some of our early adopters in 2013 were Houston, Texas, San Diego, California, St. Louis. And then we ended 2013 in 23 cities. Last year, we had a lot of growth, and quite honestly, at times it was a little stressful. But we ended 2014 in 66 cities, and today we are in 72 cities. But beyond the growth and the number of cities that we're in, what I find really incredible is that this program is led by volunteers. 310 volunteers give up 4 hours out of their week minimum. Some are crazy and do a lot more like these guys. And they genuinely care about growing their entrepreneurial ecosystem in their community. They want to be a resource for entrepreneurs, and they want to help them improve their presentations and get connected to the right people. And so that's what I find really powerful. A lot of these guys are entrepreneurs, so they're working on their own venture. It's a very selfless act on their part. So, like I said, today we're in 72 cities, which is just really incredible. And I know for some of you guys that were here at the beginning, it was a very intimate environment. We had 12 people in the room. 75% of those people were Kaufman employees. And we were like, is this thing ever going to take off? And then it did. And it's all because of you guys today. And so one of the things that we're trying to get back in 2015 is intimacy. There's a ton of people in this room today, and there's no way that that guy in the corner is probably going to connect with that woman right there. No way. And they might really have a really powerful connection if they knew who each other were. So one of the things that we're doing is we are launching a new website and a mobile app. The Kansas City website has already launched, so if you go to 1millioncups.com/Kansas City, you'll see a completely new platform. And then we're launching a mobile app in a few weeks. What this mobile app is going to be able to do is going to be very powerful, especially for everybody in this room. Anybody that wants to engage or be involved with 1 Million Cups will be able to, because they'll create a user profile, they'll download the app, they can follow any community they want, and they'll get notifications from that community. So for example, if I come to 1 Million Cups in Kansas City, I'll check in, and I'll receive notifications about who's presenting next week, who's presenting this week. If 1 Million Cups was canceled, God forbid, due to snow, you'll get those notifications. And then beyond that, you can also see who's in the room that day too. That's been one of the biggest issues, is there's probably 250 people here today, and nobody knows who's in the room. So as a user, you'll create a profile, and you can say, oh, is Matthew Marcus in the room today? Is he? What? He's here every week and he's not here today? Okay, well, I'm sorry. I bet Neil Steiner is, though. Yep, there he is. And so you'll be able to know who is in the room, which is just super powerful. Guys, none of this would have been possible, though, without all of you, without our Kansas City organizers, without all of our organizers. So just a huge thank you to you guys. Without our entrepreneurship team, all the departments, and then a special, special thank you to Catherine Deck. Catherine just came on the team in January and has really been instrumental in adding some new processes and procedures and just getting to know all 310 of our organizers and being a resource for them. So I'm gonna hand it over to her. Sorry I've taken up so much time. I know we wanna get moving on with the presentations, but she's gonna give a couple thank yous, and guys, thank you so much.
Hi, guys. I just want to thank you for being here today, and we have some more thank yous, and we have some gifts off to the side. So I would like to thank Tallgrass with a special shout out to TJ Bloom and Chris Valley. They do so much for us on a daily basis. I would like to thank our research team with a special shout out to Colin Tompkinsberg and Arnobio Moralex. We have gifts up for you guys. I know you're here. So a little round of applause. Our communications team, Matt Long, Neil Newmeyer, and Kim Farley, they do a bunch for us on a daily basis. And last but not least, Dave Simro, who you guys have seen run around over the last 3 years and make sure all of our mics are working. So thank you.
So this morning, we have 6 past presenters here with you. We're gonna split them up 3 and 3. So they will talk for a couple of minutes about where they are since they presented last at 1 Million Cups, and then we will open it up to Q&A to the audience. So I would first like to welcome Chris Gorney of Second Life Studios, Lacey Ellis of Little Hoots, and Davide Rossi of Fitbark. Yeah, go for it. Chris, do you want to start?
Yes? Great. Okay, my name is Chris Gorney. I'm one of the co-founders of Second Life Studios. We are about a 2-year-old interior design build company, which basically means we design and build the interiors of things, and we kind of pick and build the coolest parts of it in our fabrication shop. Our mission is to design purposely built spaces with repurposed materials, and we do that through a ever-continuing refined and defined design process here through our team.
My name is Davide. Awesome. What a pleasure to be back. My name is Davide Rossi. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Fitbark. Fitbark is a beautiful activity monitor, helps dog owners better understand the health and the behavior of their dogs. So if you're serious about the health of your dog, Fitbark is for you.
Okay, got that figured out. I'm Lacey Ellis. I'm the founder and CEO of Little Hoots, and we're an app that helps parents keep track of all the cute things that their kiddos say. Ultimately, we're a memory-keeping platform that will help parents keep track of all their kids' moments in one dedicated place. Right now, we're available in the App Store on iPhone.
Great. So do each of you want to talk about where you were when you presented at 1 Million Cups and where you are now, some of the big wins and challenges that you've had?
Okay, I'll start. I think I presented in May. So I think that's right, May 6th, maybe, about a year ago. We were right at the cusp of transitioning from business to company, if that makes sense. We had seen fairly significant growth, and we we were building the plane as we were flying it. I think we still are, probably. And one of the biggest challenges we probably faced is staffing deficits. So we've had a few projects throughout the last year that have gone incredibly well, and then a few projects throughout the last year they've just like been like a surgical knife opening up wounds of deficits. You know, we've had some staffing changes, and through those processes we've gone, oh my gosh, we need a specific type of project manager here, or oh my gosh, we need a specific sort of craftsman here, or oh my gosh, we needed a new marketing manager here. And that transition from 3 guys in an office to now 16 guys in a shop plus an office, you know, you start out to grow a company, then all of a sudden you're running one, and that tends to present a lot of problems. So I'd say that's probably been one of the biggest issues, is staffing deficits, and then learning and finding advice to fix those problems. And then I would also say one of our biggest win has been our team growth. We have an incredible team, a really talented group, and coming out of those deficits, we now have a great group of guys to kind of go through this crazy journey with. I'd say that's a big win.
Awesome. So since we last met in October last year, we finally, I'm really happy to announce, we finally shipped product. I've been talking about this forever, right? A couple of years. Finally happened. We shipped product to 45 countries from here in the heart of Kansas City. And we also got ourselves into a big box distribution and shipped our first batch out to Best Buy. If you're a parent and you ever watch your kid go to school for the first time, right? You're wondering, is it going to be good enough? You probably have separation anxiety, right? When that happens, that's how we felt when the first pallet of product went out to Best Buy. We launched the world's first health and lifestyle canine API, hoping to help advance science, right? We have a long list of developers and companies who are getting ready to build on top of our platform, right? And that's exciting. We're creating an ecosystem. Challenges, I mean, finding the right technical talent in the city has been a little more challenging than we thought. But we just, a few months ago, we just rescued another Yorkie, so we're teaching him iOS.
All right, well, I'm really excited to be back today because it was September when we presented, and we hard launched our product on that day at 1 million cups. And since then, we have been seeing some tremendous growth, some really great traction. We now have parents all over the world who are using our mobile app to keep track of their child's moments. They've created over 42,000 what we call memory tiles, the little moments that they create when they get inside the app. And we're almost at 16,000 users now, which is pretty exciting considering we've come that far since September. So it's really an honor for me to be back here talking to you guys today and to look back over this crazy last 6 months and kind of realize the gravity of what's happened. So it's just been, we've been inspired by the kids on a daily basis. We sit there and we see all these things that they're saying, and it goes from, cracking us up to almost in tears with some of the sweet things that come out of the mouths of 3-year-olds, out of the mouths of babes, so to speak. So I would encourage you guys to look at our Facebook page, because we post these things, and parents share these things with us on our Facebook page daily and even on Instagram. It's just a little slice of joy. One of our friends told us it was actually a joy-sharing platform, in his opinion, because it's just something that sort of brightens up your day. So I'd really encourage you guys to go out and look and see what these kids are saying and these memories that we're helping parents capture.
So I would like to open up questions to the audience. I'll ask one pointed one really quick. Hey, Chris, where else in Kansas City can we see your products now, since it's been like a year?
Last year, we were a part of a team that got to open the Village. Abby's here somewhere. Abby? So Kansas City Start Village, working with Seed, now has the Village at 45th and State Line, roughly. So if you haven't been there, they had a really great grand opening a week and a half ago. So that's a fun project. We just opened Up Down Arcade Bar in the Crossroads. Anybody been there yet? Yes. Yeah, one guy in the front, two maybe. It's a blast. It's where Hamburger Mary's used to be at 101 Southwest Traffic Way. We're close to announcing a donut shop in Midtown somewhere, which is going to be really fun. So those are two really important ones, and yeah, there's a bunch more coming too. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. If you guys have a question, please raise your hand and we'll come around with a mic. Who wants to go first? Leslie?
So I know one of the challenges has been trying to find, Davide, a manufacturer in the US for your electronic components. And I think that that's not unique to your company. I think it's kind of widespread. And when you're a startup and your volume isn't, China sufficient, can you talk about those challenges and any learnings that you've gained from that maybe the rest of us can take away today?
Yeah, so I would make that choice again to start and really try to be in the U.S. with our manufacturer. Yes, we pay a few extra dollars, if you will, in terms of getting our electronics shipped, but the flexibility we have, so we can make the final assembly here in Kansas City and kind of choose the color at the last minute. It's really important to us, right? So starting with manufacturing here in the US, it's incredibly cash flow efficient, right? Because you can be very soon at net terms, right? Versus if you start from Asia, it just so happens that you need to pay in advance before they ship, right? So the amount of money that you lose on the price there, you kind of make up with the cost of capital that you save. I would definitely make the choice again, because you see flow of product coming in every day, and you can talk to that manufacturer and ask them to make changes, right? Whereas if you start in China with a big batch of 10,000, 20,000, whatever you get. You can't really make changes, right? So been really happy with US for that part, and I would recommend everybody to take a hard look at finding a good US manufacturer before considering in the future moving to China.
We have a question in the back. Hope everyone's ready. It's from former community organizer Melissa.
Hi, guys. The question that I had for you was, what do you think is the biggest missed opportunity from your last 1 Million Cups presentation? What's like the card you didn't follow up on, or the question that you kind of wrote off and found out later was really important?
I'll take a crack at that. We had a few people approach us about message development, being like succinct and on point with who you are, what you do with a clear vision, which our company prides itself on being very vision oriented, it being the fuel for our strategy and our courage. But one of the struggles since last time has been, when you have periods of growth, you tend to fall into a reactive state rather than a proactive state, and you can't accomplish mission when you're reacting. You just can't. That's because it's almost like you're playing defense, right? I wish we would have sought out the advice of a few more people who came up to us and said, hey, we're great at this, let us help guide you as we grow. And we said, yeah, absolutely, let's talk. And then that's been a year. So that's something that's been particularly sharp for me in the last even just a few weeks. As we just finished our kind of first quarterly report, which is the first time we've had a first quarterly report. So even having a binder that said first quarterly report on it was kind of a big deal for us. We shared it with pride and then don't let anyone see it. But I'd say that the ability to have people walk alongside us to help us stay on mission and vision while we grow, I think I wish I would have stepped into those relationships a little stronger.
Nothing specific really comes to mind. Maybe being a little more open and explicit about where we need help, right? And where the community can help us connect. So this time I'll be very explicit, right? If you know a software developer, an iOS developer, who loves dogs, send them to us, please, all right? So this time I'm going to be very, very explicit. But no, I can't really think of anything in particular. But thanks for asking.
I think, the questions last time we were really impressed by. There were a lot of good questions that came from the audience, and we went back and studied those and helped those questions, or used those questions to help us really build our pitch. And so, I'm just really grateful for those particular questions and for the people that came up to me afterwards and asked me even more questions so that we had time to talk about it. I think it helped me see where we could make our pitch a little stronger and how we could tell our story a little bit better. So I guess that would be my answer if that makes sense.
Question in the center.
Thank you. Hi, guys. How are you doing today? Okay, so my question involves social media. And how has social media helped you improve your brand and how to reach out to your fans and users?
I'll start with that one. Social media is huge for us. Our product actually has built-in viral potential. We lead with content and design when parents are creating these little quotes from their kids. So they're very shareable, they're very display worthy. So parents will share these on Facebook, they'll share them on Instagram, and then that backwards discoverability happens because mom, who's our target audience, is going, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's so cool. So then what we do as a brand is we take the things that people are already sharing virally and then we reshare them with our following, which gets the word out about our product. So really it's very integral to our product, and we use it on a daily basis as much as we can to help spread the word because we really have spent next to nothing on marketing. So we rely on it very heavily at Little Hoots.
Agree with everything that you said. We switched a little bit from trying to get more likes, more clicks, right, and more numbers, right? We switched to kind of like focusing a little more on targeting more relevant people, if you will. So we're not obsessed anymore with having 20,000 likes, if you will, because I mean we have an unfair advantage, due to probably of posting, cute puppy and kids pictures, right? So it lends itself to being spread out. But if you end up like it happened in our case, I went viral in Brazil with girls 12 to 16 years of age. They're not necessarily my favorite customer, right? So we're trying to retarget the message a little bit and make sure that whatever we do and we target on social media, it's more relevant so we can convert better.
Okay, so I'm going to be really honest here. I suck at social media. I know there's other people in here who just won't admit it. So we like to talk in terms of aesthetic design, subconscious design controls, how spaces feel. But ultimately, we want you to think our stuff looks awesome, right? Like, it comes down to that. I could make it sound way more sexy, but it's not. We want you to think what we designed looks really pretty and you want it in your house. So photos are so important for us, and I wish it had occurred to me sooner than this past October to get someone on our staff who's not only a good photographer, so I don't have to pay for that every month, but also is great at online and mobile media, right? So I did that in October. We have a guy who works for us now who manages all of our social media, and surprise, surprise, every week we've seen growth. So he, on Friday, sends me a social media report that says, hey, on Facebook, on Twitter, I mean, last time, if anyone remembers, I actually said I didn't have Twitter last time here, and everybody laughed at me. We hired him a month or two later, and he said, why don't you have Twitter? And I said, I suck at it. And he goes, all right, I'll run it for you. I said, thanks. So that's how that goes. So if anyone's tweeting us right now, is that what you do? You tweet someone? You think I'm joking. I'm not. Second Life Studios was taken. There's a video game called Second Life, which, we should have thought that one through before we named our company. So there's our handle, if that's what you call them. And it's been huge. All jokes aside, I can't tell you how many people who've called our office, now that we have a company phone line, and they call our office and they'll say, hey, I follow you on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're just someone, it's their personal account, but they might run Sonic, for instance. Oh, I had a friend showed me your Instagram account or your Facebook page or your this or your that. And it's not these corporations that follow us that kind of capture the vision of our company. It's people. and then they work for places. And so it's, we're not going after followers who have 200,000 people following them on Twitter or Instagram. It's the people who have 6, but then they're a CEO or a CFO or an entrepreneur with a staff of 1. But then they come to us and we can help them grow their space. So I'd say it's huge as a long answer. I'd say it's hugely important, but not in the huge momentous swings, but in just the small everyday connections. I hope at least 6 people here follow us somewhere. And it's been huge. And I've been blown away by how many very large projects we've had come in from the phrase, I follow you on Twitter. It's amazing.
Question in the center.
Thanks for keying up my question. A problem among startups is core competencies versus trying to do everything. And I'm interested how each of you maintain that balance between what you do yourself and what you hire others or outsource.
I've got a lot of answers, but I feel like they should go.
I'll go first. We really look at the core competencies of each person that's on our team. So the skill set of each individual person and what they really have experience in or have a passion for. And then that person runs with that thing. So my background, for instance, is design and advertising, so I handle a lot of the marketing, interface design, some of the design inside the app. We have another guy on our team who's an amazing illustrator, so he does all of that work, and then we have user experience, and so she does that. And so, we really just look to see internally first who can do whatever they can do, because obviously we're very limited on time, we're limited on money, and all of the challenges that startups deal with. But then we just try to prioritize and figure out what the most important things are almost on a daily basis, and we focus on those most important pieces, and then if there's something that we're missing or if there's a skill set we don't have on our team, then we look to the outside and we ask for help.
We're extremely focused on 2 things. One is marketing and being the brand out there when you think of dog health and activity monitors. And so, we feel that so far we've been lucky enough to be able to push our brand out with very minimal marketing dollars, right? So we feel very proud about that. That's one of our core competencies, even for the future. So that, even when there will be corporations or there will be other companies doing this, that's going to be fine because we have our brand out there, right? Rather than focusing on features and hardware, for example. We had a chance to talk with Garmin a couple of weeks ago. I told them, why don't you guys do an activity monitor for dogs? You're going to finally legitimize my company, right? And so that's because we're comfortable with where we stand with marketing, right? That we want to do that. We can do that. The other thing is really dog health and being on top of everything that has to do with activity, sleep monitoring, being intimately familiar with that technology, because we have developed that technology, especially in virtue of being here in the center of the animal health corridor and talking to these 300 companies that have a good use for our data, right? This cannot easily be replicated from other folks outside of the Kansas City area. So we feel proud about it. And that's why we spend so much time talking to these companies and learning from them, right? So we can create something that's valuable for them. These are our core competencies. Everything else we're happy to, give a little less importance to or outsource.
How many tech companies are here? App, mobile, anything like that? How many? Quite a few, right? You're a lot smarter than I am. I started a company that has incredible high staffing overhead costs. Right now we've got 12 or 13 guys swinging hammers in a shop, which is wonderful. It's what we want to do. But we are daily faced with staffing issues. One of the questions I'll answer later is I've got a couple things that, if you know anybody, type answers. But we routinely try to do the if I get hit by a bus rule. Right now, if myself or one of my partners gets hit by a bus, our company's basically done. But we don't want that to be the case. So we've been trying to replace ourselves, finding people who are good at things we're not good at, and then having them take over, whether it's in drafting skills or managing or administration, things like that. But there's a little bit of a problem with startups, or sometimes you've got things you're bad at, but you have to do them. And that's something we've really learned is like, you know, ideally I'd love to hire another 4 staffers and like another 6 shop guys, but like we're just not there. So, you know, as an owner, as a, you know, or someone in a place of responsibility in a company, that doesn't have to be an owner. Sometimes there's this phrase, if not you, then who? So for us, there's a lot of situations still like that, you know, that it'd be great if we had another designer on top of myself and my design assistant, but we don't. So that means long hours in hopes that in the future we do. So I think the goal is always to staff your deficits, to find the places where hey, you're just not very good, and find some, you know, acknowledge that you're not good there, and then find someone who's better at it and pay them to do it. If you can't, then man, you need to just figure it out for as long as you can. And that's not sexy. That's not like the fun answer. But sometimes if you don't do it, no one's going to.
Question in the center.
So with, excuse me, with Little Hoots, my understanding is that the way that you monetize is with in-app purchases. So I wanted to ask you, how successful has that been, and what are you doing to grow that portion of revenue?
Sure. Yeah, we have multiple ways to monetize. One is the in-app purchases, and we've had about 7% of our users actually purchasing the 99-cent design packs, which has exceeded our expectations. So that's been really exciting, and we continue to release new design packs. So that's how we're growing that particular piece of it. Right now, we're just working really hard to actually do that, trying to get the funding so that we can spend more time releasing those. And then the other piece is the hard goods. So we have a keepsake store inside the app. Once parents create these memory tiles, they want to get them printed out on a mug or coaster set or whatever that may be to share with, to gift. We'll also be releasing new hard goods that customers are asking us for specifically. So people really want books, which completely makes sense. You want to have a collection of these things to throw on your coffee table. At the end of the year, you want to have a collection. Moving forward, as we build out our platform, users will be able to save all their memories with Little Hoots. So all of your videos, your photos, everything will be all together, the very best of in one dedicated place. So hard goods are a very natural extension of that. People will want books to commemorate their year. Maybe it's a book to commemorate one particular child or whatever it is, but we're all about making memory keeping easier. So the hard goods, the in-app purchases, and then moving forward, also subscriptions will be a third way that we're monetizing.
Great. Thank you guys very much. Let's hear it. Great job. All right. Oh, wait, I got one more question. I'm going to cut you off, and then I need you back. What can we as a community do for you guys?
We need help with awareness. If you guys can go out to our Facebook page and like it, look at some of the funny quotes that are being shared, some of the memory tiles, and share them with your friends. Go to Instagram, check it out. Go to Twitter, look at it. Just if you know anybody that would use our app, just please spread the word. If you know anybody that would be interested in our company or interested in talking to us in any way, please connect us. We'd love to have connections, and we'd love help getting out the word out.
Developers. Thank you.
Perfect. I would say continue to value space and repurposed materials, not as a kitschy fad, but as something that's going to be a sustainable movement for the future. Like as you guys grow your companies and value that, that will help us. The second thing would be staff. We're actually looking for craftsmen, not just construction workers, but folks who have a lot of experience building space, not just furniture. And then we're actually looking for a few more designers. So if you know anybody, you know, our website and this contact page. So that's a very practical way.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. Toby.
All right, so while we're transitioning, just wanted to take a quick second to recognize anybody who is an alumni, anyone who has been up here presenting. If you could stand up, or if you're in your back, kind of come forward, and then we'll give you a round of applause. Even if you're going to be up here today, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming back.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we do have a couple announcements. If you didn't grab an announcement sheet by the coffee or by the back table, please take a look at that. We've got 4 or 5 different announcements that we're not going to read off to you, but that's a great way to see what's going on. On the new website, I believe we're going to be able to put those announcements on the web for you to see, and that'll be an exciting thing as well as a resource for you. So I know there's a lot of people standing up in the back. We do have seats up front. If you have an empty seat next to you, would you just raise your hand for me? And if anybody wants to grab a seat, feel free. Excellent. All right, let's bring up our next group. We've got Chris Costello of Bloom. Where's Chris at? Chris. He's coming. All right. We've got Crystal Wiebe of Beer Paws. Wiebe as in we be getting our dogs drunk, right? We got Haley Bashirs of Maddie Apparel. Excellent. Grab a seat. Go ahead and turn those mics on if they're off, please. And we'll keep moving. All right. Chris, you ready to start? Give us a quick intro and a heads up of what's happening with your business since you have presented, please.
Chris Costello, CEO and co-founder of Bloom. Bloom is the only fully automated 401k fixer in the country right now. Very excited about being the only one in that space. We presented in 1 million cups. We got really lucky. I wish I could say this was good planning on my part, but we presented the week of Global Entrepreneurship Week. So it was a packed house, perfect time. Back in November to do that. Thank you, Courtney, if you were the one helped us get on that week. Since then, a number of things have happened, good and bad. I guess we'll start with the good. We were named by Fast Company magazine as one of the top 10 most innovative companies in personal finance for 2015. That was a huge nod of confidence and validation for us. I sometimes joke that I guess since November, there's been 2 times where I've wanted to quit Bloom. I think that any co-founder, if they're honest, would probably say the same thing. But I feel very fortunate to be in a position where, for the most part, every single day, I cannot wait to go work on Bloom. Personally, I've had to transition away from my other company, the other wealth management firm, because Bloom obviously requires more of my time. So that's all happened since presenting in November.
I'm going to just ask you a quick question. How many employees do you have, Chris?
We now have, Zach, 9 employees, I think. And that's probably up from 3 in November.
Do you offer 401k for your employees?
It's funny you asked that. I was actually telling a joke today about that. I get on a soapbox sometimes, and you know, we fix 401ks, but you have to have a 401k to have it fixed. And there's about 80 million people in the country that don't even have access to a 401k. And I was talking to somebody someday, and I said, you know, if you work for a deadbeat boss that doesn't offer a 401k, that's not fair. And I thought, wait, oh shoot. Bloom doesn't offer 401k. So we have started the process to offer a 401k to our employees. So
Okay, start at a 400k, because then you can move up to a 401k.
Exactly.
All right, Haley, you're up.
Hi, I'm Haley Bashir. I own a cause-based women's underwear line called Maddie Apparel. It stands for Make a Difference Intimate Apparel. And for every pair of underwear that we sell, we donate a pair to women in domestic violence shelters and rape clinics and other women's organizations that need underwear. We donate underwear because it's the most needed and under-donated item of clothing. And that's why I started the company, for that statistic alone. When we were looking to figure out who we're going to donate to, I thought back to a conversation that I had with a close family member of mine who is a survivor of domestic violence, and I wanted to figure out a way for how we could include other survivors within our donations. So I started calling domestic violence shelters, and learning that underwear is on the urgent needs list at every domestic violence shelter across the country. The underwear is needed globally too, but we start right here in the U.S. In terms of what we've been doing since we spoke last July, a lot's been going on. I was living halfway between here and Florida, so we were kind of marketing in both places, and we decided to move back to Kansas City and open a retail shop here because Kansas City is such a huge entrepreneurial hub, and really Kansas City's been behind us the whole way in terms of our social cause, and so we opened our retail shop on the west side, 1659 Summit. We're open on the weekends if you want to come visit. Just this past April. We also got in Birdie's in the Crossroads. They wanted to be the first Kansas City retailer to have Maddie apparel. And we've been donating to organizations across the country. Really, it's just kind of been inspiring to be able to donate to women and learn from them. We made a special trip to California just this last October to donate to one particular woman who reached out to us for underwear donations. So those are kind of a couple things that we've been doing since we launched.
Excellent. Crystal, can you explain all the drunk dogs on the street for us?
There are no drunk dogs. I'm Crystal Wiebe. I'm the founder of Beer Paws, and I started the company in 2013 to help make dogs a better drinking buddy. It began with bottle openers to put on your dog's collar, because I could never remember where mine was, and solve that problem. But fairly quickly realized that the real opportunity for the business would really be in treats. And the way to kind of marry dog treats and drinking culture was to take a huge beer industry byproduct, which is spent grains. Breweries in Kansas City alone, a single brewery can produce multiple tons of spent grains every single day. And sometimes if they don't have an arrangement with a farmer or something, a lot of those grains end up in the waste if they're not composted or fed to cows. I can, however, take those grains, add a little peanut butter, eggs, and love, and make these super crunchy, uniquely high protein, high fiber dog treats. And they're super fun, so it was really exciting to be able to share that story in September with the 1 Million Cups crowd here. We also had the pleasure of being able to share our story with 1 Million Cups in both Lawrence and Columbia, and I have to say that it was a fantastic experience every single time, and I made some pretty awesome contacts. One of the things that I think was key for after my presentation here is that really, although Boulevard was aware of us, I feel like we got a little bit more on the radar with Boulevard, because it seemed like everyone in the audience was tweeting, "Hey, Boulevard, have you heard of this? Get on this." And it was very shortly after that we actually got, Boulevard did reach out, and they added our products to the brewery gift shop and the store on the plaza over the holidays, so we had a very, very busy holiday season. Right now, my company we've got products in 20 plus retailers around the Kansas City area, and I'm a Nebraska girl, so we've been growing there simultaneously. In the past few months, we've had some really fantastic press opportunities, both in KC with TV, and then also some really great opportunities in Nebraska. So we're rapidly have outgrown my home kitchen, so that'll be the next step.
Crystal, you mentioned that you started with the bottle opener because you never knew where yours was.
I would open a bottle of beer and then stick that bottle opener in a drawer and
okay.
Just
And was the bottle opener on the collar?
Yep.
Okay, all right, that sounds.
It also fits on your keychain or the end of the leash.
Okay, my dog's really short, so that'd be a tricky one to try to. I'd have to get the short, like the red stripes or something, to
Definitely.
to be able to open under my dog's collar.
Oh, I guess I did forget to mention that we are the Midwest's only producer of beer for dogs. I have some of the biscuits samples back there. I don't have any beer today, but just saying.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we're going to open it up to questions. We've got Milton and Toby, and I'm up front. So raise your hand if you have a question. We'll come find you.
We've got a question here to your left. I'll start with Haley. Can you tell us a little bit about your transition from Florida back to Kansas City and opening a retail store here? And do you feel like it's really progressed your company and moving it back just to Kansas City?
We knew we wanted to open a retail store after we received great feedback whenever we'd sell in person. So we launched our website in August, just right after we spoke at 1 Million Cups. And we've been steady, but when we sell in person, we're really able to tell our story. People can feel our really soft organic fabric. And so it really, really makes a difference. We can talk about our cause. And so we knew that we wanted to get into a retail store or open our own retail front. And so that's why we decided on Kansas City. We'd been looking in the Crossroads, West Side a little bit, and then a great spot opened up on the West Side, and we knew we had to take advantage of it. So it's been a really exciting move. Set us back just a little bit in terms of time and resources, but we're learning a lot, and the Kansas City community has really opened their arms for us. I'm from here originally, but it was nice to kind of, make that transition back, and Kansas City's been awesome, so.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I've got a similar question actually for Chris. You mentioned that you have grown, I think you said from November, from 3 employees to 9. Can you tell us a little bit about what really caused that growth?
Well, I'd really like to have about 20 employees right now, which is why I'm working on our first raise. But we're in a position right now, like I mentioned earlier, where we're the only one doing this right now for a massive market. There's 90 million people in the country right now that have a 401k, and by our estimates, probably 80 million of them would like to have help if it was available. And through technology, we can now do that. And so I feel like there's an opportunity to kind of scorch the earth quickly. There's going to be other competition coming soon. I mean, any day there could be another announced entrant into this market. So we've needed help servicing the clients that have signed up with us so far. We've needed help. I too didn't know what the proper terminology Twitter was about 6 months ago, and so Zach Pettit sitting back there, raise your hand, Zach. Most people here probably know Zach. Zach's actually the reason I actually found 1 Million Cups. Thank you, Zach. You introduced me to this organization, so I appreciate that. People like Zach to help us with social media, people that are helping us with PR. But like I say, I'd like to have a staff of probably at least double that as soon as possible.
Okay, we've got a question to your right.
Hi, I have a question for Bloom Inc. And I just happen to be a personal financial educator, but when you say fixed 401k, exactly what does that mean, or how do you do that?
So raise your hand in this room if you've got a 401k or a 403b person currently you're contributing to one. Keep your hands up for a second. Keep your hands up if you're 100% confident you know what you're doing with that account. So the people that still have their hands raised wouldn't be a Bloom client. Everybody else that dropped their hand is somebody that could hire Bloom. And the problem is that a lot of these people might have wanted help, but if they would have come to me at my old firm, or Merrill Lynch, or Smith Barney, or Edward Jones, or Schwab, the first question would have been, well, how much money do you have to invest? And if the answer was $11,000, you wouldn't have gotten help. But with technology now, we can fix that account for $1 a month. And our pricing is very simple, $1 a month under $20,000. If you got over $20,000 saved up, it's $15 a month. So this is a service that has been badly needed. That's the wonderful thing I think about Bloom, is that we're building this, I think, really cool. If you've ever seen our website and our app, I think it's amazing and it's very simple. It's a cool company, it's fun to work at, but we're solving a massive problem. We're fixing a big issue. So we're not just creating a cool company. 20 years from now, when I look back on this, I know we will have changed people's lives.
Got a question here in the back on the right.
Hi, I'm Derek B. Wright. I had a question. How did you finance yourselves, or are you bootstrap? And for Bloom, how are you going to raise funds? Is it going to be locally, or do you have to head to the coasts?
Good question. I've struggled with that. So far we've bootstrapped Bloom entirely, myself and the 3 co-founders. We've put a little over $500,000 into Bloom so far, but I really need to raise about $5 to $10 million right now. The assumption is after after we got mentioned in Fast Company, I think the assumption was we'd relocate Bloom to Silicon Valley. That's the expectation from some of the people we talked to. I can tell everybody in this room, and this can go on the record, Bloom will never move out of Kansas City, period. So, but we are, to finish answering your question, yes, we are talking to people right now about a true Series A raise at this point.
Question to Haley on your right. Haley, I know you sell and manufacture a premium product. It's made of bamboo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you have your you buy one, give one concept, is it overkill and expensive to actually be giving the bamboo premium product to those shelters versus could you go further if you were still giving a very nice product but not necessarily, as premium as what you're doing?
Yeah, we're asked that question a lot. But for one, when we were deciding what fabric we wanted to use, it was very important for the fabric to hold properties that would allow the women to be able to wear them over and over, to get a lot of use out of, if they only received one pair, they need to be able to wear that pair often. So we experimented with so many fabrics, hundreds of fabrics, and landed upon viscose from bamboo. The properties that it holds allow it to be fast drying, odor preventing. The women can wash and hang dry a pair overnight. So for that reason, that's why we chose the fabric, but also we wanted it to be a luxury brand where usually women who care about giving back, they're willing to spend a little bit more on a product, and so we didn't want to separate the women who were receiving the underwear from the women who were buying it. So we didn't want to make a cheap product in general. We didn't want to sell a cheap product. So not only does the underwear that we're selling have these properties, but it's super soft, and women just find it super comfortable and are enjoying it and want to hold on to it. And so we could probably donate more pairs if we used a cheap garment, but we wanted women, it's very important for us to make women feel confident and comfortable, and when they're repairing their lives, we don't want to just give them a cheap undergarment. And so it was really about luxury for women buying the product and receiving the donations.
We got a question in the back.
This is for Bloom. Customer acquisition. How are you doing it? What's your cost?
So up until April 1st, we were in a mode that I called stealth mode. We hadn't spent any money whatsoever on marketing up until April 1st. We'd attracted, up to April 1st, we attracted about 500 clients. Mainly that was just we had some nice write-ups in the Wall Street Journal and Barron's and Forbes and Fast Company and things of that nature. So people were finding us. Maybe even through Zach, some of your social media, we might have had some clients. April 1st, we started spending money on SEM, so we're only 22 days into that. We're still trying to figure out ultimately what the best way of finding scale quickly. We're obviously trying direct to consumer. I have a sneaky feeling though that if I was back speaking 9 months from now, I would probably report to you that through the enterprise channel route for us, so partnering with big financial institutions, exchanges, things of that nature will probably be the means to scale the fastest.
All right, we got a question in the middle here.
All right. So encore question here for the panel. Same question with the host group, and that is how you divide your time between your core competencies and what you outsource to others.
Who wants to start with that?
I can start. So that's a constant challenge, and I'm definitely at the point right now where I'm trying to figure out how to replace myself, how to pull people in. And one of the challenges is I also work a full-time job actually in social media, but so I feel like that's a core competency of mine, but I constantly want to be doing better at the social media for Beer Paws, but right now I'm sort of caught up in the manufacturing end of it because I'm still the head of all of the baking and product production. So that's a challenge, an ongoing piece for me that I'm just trying to work out by finding the right partners to pull in.
I agree. It's obviously an everyday challenge. I talk about this a lot. We have a very small team, and we can't afford to pay employees very much right now. So we're kind of commission-based for now. And so that's the thing that I struggle with because, like someone said earlier, who's going to do it? You know, it's not going to get done unless I do it sometimes. And so I try to focus on more important things, but while our team's small, you know, we kind of have to do it all.
Well, this is my second company, and I think I've gotten better at delegating. I actually think I'm a pretty good delegator right now, and one of the qualities I use when we look for other people to bring on are people that are better at things than me. I think Mark Zuckerberg said one time, the hires that he makes, that the criteria he uses is could he see himself working for that person sometimes, and so I'm going to try and take a page out of that playbook with our future hires too. But there are some things that as the founder you cannot outsource. You can never outsource the passion and the reason why you started the company. And so anytime you're talking about, you know, for entrepreneurs in here, that you're talking about your company, I think that has to be you. I mean, you can't hire somebody that can ever replicate your passion and reason for why you started the company. But certainly things like social media that I'm not strong at and development and things of that nature obviously can be outsourced. But I think you have to go into it with the expectation that you will be taking out the trash, you know, doing the menial tasks to begin with, because nobody lands instant funding. You're not going to have customers immediately that are paying revenue. So as long as you go into it with that expectation, I think it helps you strike a good balance.
Okay, we've got another question to your right up front.
Hi, I just have a question for Haley and how you tie the business, the retail part of your business with your giving back to the women that you want to help. And how do you work that? In other words, do you sell the underwear and then how do you decide who gets donations, or, you know, do you just do it by request? Just curious how those two things tie in.
So as our model goes, for every pair that we sell, we donate a pair. So we usually go about every 30 days. We'll see how many we've sold, and we'll usually go to about 2 shelters or rape clinics that we'll donate to. So eventually we want to be able to donate to disaster relief organizations and other organizations. So far, it's been request-based, plus we found local Kansas City shelters that, you know, we ask if they'd like to partner with us. But we've received a lot of requests from various shelters across the country, and even individuals like the one we donate to in California. So it's just, we're finding out it's more and more needed. People are saying they never receive it, and they can't receive it used. So we're just trying really hard to get our sales up so we can donate as many as we can. And we're constantly trying to grow into new partnered recipients. And so if anyone knows any that might need donations, please let us know. But that's kind of how we go. We sell about 30 days worth, and then we donate however many that we've sold.
Kind of segueing off of what you just said, guys, with the final question, what can we as a community do for you?
Start off? Go ahead. Well, things like this are amazing. You know, once again, I being out south in Overland Park was very unplugged into the technological startup scene and entrepreneurial scene here. So having a forum just simply like this has been hugely beneficial. On my learning curve the last 6 months, just since 1 Million Cups, about what resources and talents and people are here right here in our hometown, has really been an eye-opening experience. So I guess I would just say, on the 3-year anniversary, thank you to 1 Million Cups for having things like this.
We need help in a couple areas. One, we're looking to get into other retail outlets, an online distribution. We need help with online web marketing, ads. We're looking for interns in a variety of areas, but social cause, spirited individuals and fashion-backed individuals. And we're also looking for another manufacturer. Last time we spoke in July, we were looking for a new U.S. manufacturer. We used to produce in South Carolina. Now we produce in Kansas City. Brian gave us a source, actually, for that. And so we use 2 local Kansas City manufacturers. We like to use one, but the problem is the 2 that we're using, they both don't have enough employees to be able to keep us going. We're only going to grow, so we'd like to keep it in Kansas City and find a larger cut and sew producer. So if anyone knows anyone, we would love to speak with you.
And actually, Beer Paws has many of the same needs. Definitely would love some intern help. And we are, with the manufacturing, as I mentioned, we've rapidly outgrown my kitchen, and we are talking with some potential other manufacturers. I would love to keep the bulk of our production here in Kansas City because of the nature of the spent grains. We kind of need to. Also, if anyone has contacts in Nebraska, we are open to having a separate production facility there because we partner with so many breweries there as well. In addition to that, just tell your friends, like us on Facebook, tell your friends who like dogs and drinking. We're also trying to get into more and more retail outlets, both here and nationwide.
Can I jump in again? I forgot. We do need developers.
No. No, go ahead.
I forgot. I was supposed to mention this. We do need developers. If you know how to write code or are capable of full stack, please get in contact with us ASAP. Interns. We are hiring operations people, sales support people, and administrative. So if anybody's looking to get experience in a startup here in town, please contact me ASAP.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks everybody for coming. Need to do a quick announcement. Don't know if if we've made the announcement before, but there's going to be a happy hour, a happy birthday happy hour at Graham and Dunn tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. Everybody's invited. Nate's going to be there. I don't know if he is or not. Anyway, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you next week. Same time.